Welcome to Voices Big and Small. This is Mike from Southern California, and on today's episode, I'm going to be talking about one of Houston's more prolific voice actresses, Kira Vincent-Davis. Um, so let's get started then. Um, Kira Vincent-Davis, um, also known as Kira Solar, is an American voice actress best known for her work in English language versions of Japanese anime. Among some of her more well-known credits include Lucy Liu in Elfen Lied, Minagi Tono in Air, Ayumu Katsuga in Azumanga Daioh, Mizuki Tachibana in Gravion, Reno Rondo and Puchan in Best Student Council, the Chaika Trabant, the lead character in Chaika the Coffin Princess, and Mio Sakamoto in Strike Witches. She has worked with dubbing production companies ADV Films, Sentai Filmworks, and even some with Funimation. Let's look at some of the credits that she's been involved with. So, now granted, it says some sources say she started in 1995, some say she started in 1998. One of her first roles was in the Crying Freeman OVA back in 1995. She was brought in to voice Kia, the English voice for Kia in the streamlined ADV dub of Crying Freeman that was licensed here in the States by Discotech Media. Then we go then we move ahead to 1998. She was cast as Orchid in Princess Minerva, and she was also involved in 1998 with she was cast as in Those Who Hunt Elves as the English voices of Sister Romina, Ninja Elf, and Lana. To move ahead to the year 2000, she was cast as Yellow Slime in Dragon Half. She was cast as Maria in Rune Explorers. Are you a ruin? Yeah, a ruin explorers. 2000. Also in 2000, she was cast as Rory Hoshino in Martian successor Nadesico, which is a nice little kind of space opera slash slice of life kind of anime about a bunch of kids, piloting a spaceship throughout the universe. Not to be confused with Infinite or Vias. It's another one altogether. Um, then starting in 2000, so those are the credits of 2000. 2001, one of her first roles there was she was cast as Koharu Hata in Princess Nine. Princess Nine is a nice little anime about basically an all girls baseball team. Well, okay, so it's a regular high school. They already have a boys high school baseball club, but instead of you know the principal one year decides she wants to have a girls baseball club as opposed to a softball club. Well, they call them clubs over in Japan. We'd call them teams here. So Princess Nine is kind of an interesting one about basically a girls baseball team. So interesting one to check out if you guys want to. Then as we move ahead to 2002, Kira was cast as the English voice of Nakahito Kagura in Steel Angel Karumi. Um, might have been one. I think that I'm not sure. That might be a boy character actually. Um, like a number of female voice actresses out there. Kira has also been cast in a few roles where she is, voiced prepubescent boys. Um, Also in 2002 in Excel Saga, she was cast as the English voice for Robo Matsu 2, Poochu Queen, and and the Shop Girl. I guess that was one of her guest roles. And as we move ahead to into 2002, um, she was cast in the ADV dub of Super Dimension Fortress Macross. Many people would know Macross for its earlier dub back in the 80s by Harmony Gold under the name Robotech. Well, in the 2000s, ADV did a dub, and Kira was cast as the English voice of Kim Kabaroff in the English dub of Super Dimension Fortress Macross in 2002. And as we move ahead to 2003, she was cast in Colorful as about three different voices. Um, some of these seem to be more, yeah, these seem to be more like kind of guest shots. On Colorful, she was cast in one episode. She was the brunette hottie on the bike, a jogger, and part-time alien. Also in 2003, she was cast in the mecha anime Razafon as um, Quan Kisaragi. I'm guessing that's how you pronounce it. Quon. Quan Kisaragi in Razafon. Also in 2003, she was cast as Ranjay in Spectral Force. And then she was actually in 2000. Also in 2003, she got one of her first lead roles in Najika Blitz Tactics as Najika Hiragi, as the English voice of Najika Hiraki. Um, she was, and then also in 2003, she was involved in this is another series that was dubbed by different companies. This case, Kira was dubbed as the English voice for Ophilucus Shayna in in the ADV dub of Saint Seiya. Some of you may know it by its other dub company name, Knights of the Zodiac, but the 2003 dub of Saint Seiya was Kira was cast as as Shayna in that, basically one of the female trainers of the Saints. Also in 2003, she was cast as English voice of Miyu Yamazaki in Super Gals. She was also, and then she was also cast as the English voice of Ryo Misaki. Again, I think another one where she was cast as a prepubescent boy character in Battle Doll Angelic Layer. So for those of you who might be Angelic Layer fans, this is a Chobits manga slash anime, basically about basically people who basically compete by with what they call battle dolls. In other words, they're dolls, but they're dolls, but they're more designed like action figures to like the way you can battle with them, through some form of remote control or something like that. It's a good opening and ending themes. Good concept, good story. I would highly recommend it if you haven't. Kira, as I said, is cast in English voice of Rio Misaki. Again, one of those roles where she's voicing a prepubescent boy. Also in 2003, she was cast as the English voices of Mitsuyo Imamiya and um, Shiotan in Magical Shopping Arcade at Benobashi. Another interesting slice of life one about, magical shopping arcade that will send you off to all kinds of weird places, or send the main character off to all kinds of weird places. Then in 2004, she would secure the role in one of the first roles she was hired on to voice was providing the English voice for Hitomi uh, um, Asa, Asu, I guess Hitomi Asu in Puni Puni Poemi. She was the English voice for Hitomi Asu. And as we move forward, as we continue on in Azumanga, actually, I'm sorry, as we move ahead in 2004, she was cast as the English voice for Ayumu Katsuga Osaka in Azumanga Daioh. This basically she was the I guess transfer student from Osaka. Azumanga Daioh basically follows the foibles of a group of about 4 or 5 girls, just hanging out together, going to school together, and all that. Bunch of different characters. It's fun little anime to watch. And also in 2004, she would be cast as the English voice for Anna Hart in Kaleidostar, story about a girl following her dream to become a circus acrobat. Then also in 2004, she would actually be cast in another mecha anime, Gravion, as the English voice for Mizuki Tachibana, one of the pilots of the series. Also in 2004, she was cast as the English voice of Koyori Kokubunji, Magical Maid Koyori in Nurse Witch Komugi. That was another, a lot of the slice of life, um, ecchi, um, harem animes that ADV has dubbed over the years are kind of cute. They're more than just the fan service. They're more than just the fan service. They're more than the innuendos. There's a lot of comedy there that doesn't that some of it is the innuendo comedy, but there's still some fun stuff that goes on in these. I highly recommend these type of shows just to check them out if you want to have a good laugh. Then, also in 2004, um, I believe this was one of our first roles with Funimation. She was cast as Taijo or Tajio in One Piece in the Funimation dub of One Piece. She was cast Tajio. Um, Also in 2004, she was cast as Shader, kind of a cat girl villain in Chrono Crusade. Chronos Crusade is a very interesting slice of life anime involving two characters that basically it's about a nun who falls in love with a devil whose time is kind of, who gets his basically power energy from his time clock. And once their time runs out on the time clock, he passes away. They kind of have some adventures together, trying to save the world. It's a good anime. I'd suggest check it out. But Kira in it was this cat girl villain by the name of Shader. So, also in 2004, she was cast as Akisato in the in Peacemaker Kurogane, which is an anime that um, it's basically it's one of the many anime that focuses on Japanese history. In this case, around the time of the Bakumatsu period, I believe, in which um, was kind of starting the Japanese Civil War between the old shogunate and the Western influence, and the revolution that were started up by Ryoto Sakamoto. Um, this follows the story of Shinzengumi page boy Tetsuyu Ichimura. Well, Kira Vincent-Davis in this one um, voiced the role, was the English voice for Aki Sato. Yeah, and I'll tell you this: when I was doing my research on this, um, I saw that Kira had well over like 90 credits just on anime shows alone. I would say overall, when you count anime shows, OVAs, um, movies, video games, she had over 100. As I said, probably one of the more prolific voice actresses out of Houston, out of the ADV and Sentai um, studios that doesn't really get, production company that doesn't really get the credit she deserves. That people, she doesn't get out to cons much. She doesn't get invited to cons much. So I'm hoping that maybe some of you, as you're watching this episode, will take a look at some of her work. You might have already seen some of her work, and will maybe want to have meet her at a con sometime. So as we continue on, in Sister Princess, she was cast as Mamoru. Another very interesting, etchy harem anime. Basically, this young man is finds out that he has like 12 sisters that he never knew he had until I guess he got to high school. He basically gets transferred to a high school on an island somewhere, and basically, as with many like harem animes, all the anyways, all the different girls, in these harem anime. Is one, by the way, Sister Princess, one of the biggest, um, biggest harem animes in terms of number of characters. Because as I said, um, he's living in a house with his sisters, with like basically 12 sisters, and they're all like, you know, Mamoru, which is Kira's character, is kind of a tech person, like sci tech person. Basically, she loves building robots. As with a lot of harem type animes, one of the appeals to them is the different characteristics you find with each character. You know, different personalities, different characters, and watching how they relate to the main character. So if you haven't seen Sister Princess, I highly recommend it. It's a cute one. Also in 2004, she was cast in D and Angel as the English voice of Takeshi Saihara, which looks of it is another role where she looks like it's another role where she voiced a role of a prepubescent boy, possibly, because this looks like a boy character based on the picture here. Again, as I said, Akira Vincent-Davis is like a few female voice actresses out there. Has done some um, times in which she was cast as prepubescent boys. Then in the ADV dub in 2005, we come to 2005 now, in which in the she was involved in the ADV dub of DG Carrot, in which she was cast as Rio Cola or Rio Cola Analog the Third. So I haven't seen the ADV dub of this one. I've seen the Blue Water dub of um, Ponyo Ponyo DG Carrot or DG Carrot Rio or something. Like Blue Water did one version of a dub, and then this is ADV dubs of another version. So I believe so. Um, then also in 2005, she was cast as Yuri. She was cast as the English voice of Yuri Fuyude in Wondaba style. Also in 2005, she was cast in Princess Tutu as the English voices of Maylin and Chi Chihawan Chihawan try jamming the two words Chihuahua and Juan together. That's basically the name of the other character that she played in there. And then also in 2005, she had a number of roles in Gantz, which is a darker, kind of a darker type. She was cast as, I think she may have been cast as um, two of the characters involved. Gantz is basically set up like an anime that was set up like some kind of like experiment with these group of people. Um, some psychological drama involved. So among the characters she was cast in Gantz as include Sadayo Sadako Suzumura, Ryoto Sugihara, which looks possibly like another prepubescent boy character, Tetsuo's baby, Senju Kanon, multi-armed statue, um, the wife with the knife, and Manabu. So Gantz was a pretty popular one when it came out. Then also in 2005, she was cast as Shinlu Belvedere in Ease Otherwise. Um, one of those secret government project. Take your kids when they notice that your kids have a chance of developing some kind of superpower. Government takes them in to basically experiment on them and possibly develop them as weapons. That's the type of anime Ease Otherwise is. Right? The dub came out in 2005, and Kira Vincent-Davis was the role was the English voice of Shinlu Belvedere. We get on to 2005. She was the English voice for Eleanor Baker in Madlax. Madlax, one of my favorites as well. Part of what they call a thematic trilogy between noir, Madlax, and El Cazador de la Bruja, translated as Witch Hunter. Um, Madlax was about a girl who, in essence, split into three parts, and each part, at different stages of life, mind you. One part was as a little girl, one part was as a slightly older girl who eventually grew up into. I would say at the time of the split, you had the girl split into three parts. One may have been like one may have been like about four or five. Then one of the characters split may have been a little older, like 6 or 7, and then one might have been a teenager. Because by the end, when they all come back together, they're all basically the same person, but like three different. You have one who's like still a little girl, still like around 5. You have another who's basically a teenager, middle school, maybe high school, and then you have basically a young 20-something woman who is basically a mercenary. So Noir has assassins, Madlax has a mercenary, and El Cazador La Bruja has a lot of gunslinging. Madlax is pretty cool because um, as a mercenary, you get to see her in action in all these different settings and stuff like that, fighting off bad guys on the enemy and all that, shooting and all that. So um, yeah. So moving ahead then, in Elfin Lied, one of her starring, again, another starring role here as the split personality of a psychokinetic Miyu and Lucy. Miyu is kind of the soft, very loving, timid, timid personality, and then Lucy is kind of the more vicious, mean. Again, another one like with Ease Otherwise, where you have secret government agency who experiments on kids and then tries to turn them into weapons. she's got kind of some kind of dimensional power where she has the ability to control like arms that arms or some kind of extensions of herself that can actually kill people around her. So that's but she only uses that power when she's Lucy. So that's a very interesting one. Then also in 2005, she was cast as the English voice for Mayura Daidoji, the kind of little absent-minded wannabe assistant to the base the to the main character in the anime mythical detective Loki Ragnarok. So in 2005, she was cast as the English voice of Mayura Daidoji in the anime mythical detective Loki Ragnarok. One of those where Japan takes aspects of another culture and kind of turns it into a story. You know, in this case, taking characters from Greek mythology. In the case of this one, Loki, who is known as the trickster, known kind of as the trickster of the Norse gods, is sent to Earth and is a detective, and detective who specializes in supernatural cases. Um, in the guise of basically a young boy. Just, uh, just think of, just think a case closed slash Detective Conan with Norse mythology thrown in there. The ironic thing is that Thor, in a human disguise as one of his assistants, is um, is also in there. Basically, just think a case closed with Norse mythology mixed in there. Then in 2005, we get probably one of the more interesting ones, ghost stories. Um, Now in this case, Kira had a couple of guest voices in here, which in one episode she was the cabbie's daughter, and another one she was the second teacher, I guess. Um, Ghost Stories was kind of the one of the rare animes where that and I just heard this story. If you go back, you can check out my video from Vic's panel presentations 149 and 150 from a couple weeks from oh wait maybe last week. Um, but also or a couple weeks ago, I guess when this video comes out. Ghost Stories is one of those that in Japan it didn't wasn't all that successful. So when ADV licensed it, the Japanese told them, you know something, this was if you can do something with this, make it better. We don't care where because normally with most titles that are picked up by dub companies, the Japanese companies usually want you to stick to script and make it just a straight translation. However, with Ghost Story, since it wasn't all that successful in Japan, they basically gave ADV carte blanche permission to do whatever they want with it. Vic was in there. This is the this is the anime where Vic, because he didn't exactly like the fact that he didn't exactly want his name associated with this anime. So he basically told the director Stephen Foster to just create a name for him to put on the cast list. And this is how Vic became Obi Frosttips. It was from this anime, Ghost Stories. You guys should go if you guys want a really good laugh. Go check that one out because it's ADV really, really, you know. But in this case, they actually had permission to do that, to make those type of changes, and they didn't sit there trying to really push too much of a political agenda either. Unlike what you see now with Funimation. So Anyways, and as we move ahead, also in 2005, Kira, getting back to this, Kira Vincent-Davis was cast as the English voice of Lucky Luck Sachiko Toki Sada, who I think was she was actually a little girl, but kind of tried to pass herself off as a boy. And this is from the anime Hakuge Legend of the Moby Dick. And in this case, now granted, from what I understand, the Moby Dick, this is kind of a space adaptation to the classic Herman Melville tale of Moby Dick. A lot of elements there. So yeah, so in ADV's dub of Hakuge Legend of the Moby Dick, she was cast as Lucky Luck Sachiko Tokasada. Then as we move ahead to 2006, she was cast in Diamond Daydreams as the English voice of Karin Shiraishi. Karin Shiraishi in Diamond Daydreams starting in 2006. Also in 2006, she was cast in Nanaka 617 as Yuriko Amemiya, who would serve as kind of the initially as the antagonist and romantic rival, eventual friend to the main character Nanaka. Not in this case, think case closed, but more slice of life and high school setting. It's about a girl who somehow mysteriously gets, in this case, more mysteriously, not, I don't think it's via drug poisoning, but this case, a high school girl who basically gets transformed into a child. So, and she's basically a 17-year-old high school girl who um, gets transformed into a 6-year-old, or at least physically into a 6-year-old child. But in Nautica 617, Kira Vincent-Davis was cast as the English voice of Yuriko Amemiya. Also in 2006, she was cast as Iba Ragi in Tactics. Let's try to go a little faster here because something tells me I'm like, um, oh wow, I didn't even realize that. So I got to go a little faster here. Okay, so she was cast in 2006. One of the other roles she did with Funimation, she was cast as Peter in Trinity Blood. Also in 2006, she was cast as the English voice of Miss Evans in Shinshan. Um, then also in 2006, she was cast in the ADV dub of Jinky, another mecha anime as Shiva. Then she was also cast in Pani Pony Dash as Ichijo's little sister and Suzune Shiratori. And she was also involved in Narima Daikon Brothers, which I also believe she co-starred with. In the English side of it, she co-starred with. Okay, so in Narima Daikon Brothers, Kira Vincent-Davis provided the voice of Pan, Pandaikon. Pandaikon, basically like looking like a little panda bear. She was in this one along. She starred in this one alongside her fellow on the English dub alongside her fellow ADV voice actors, Lord Lucy Christian, Greg Ayres, and Christopher Patton. Then, as we move now to 2007, she was cast in Best Student Council as the English voices of Reno Rondo and Puchan. You know, another cute anime you guys should check. I'm sorry, I know I've already talked quite a bit here, so I'm gonna try to get through these pretty quickly. Also in 2007, she was cast as Ilulu and Mikoto in Utawareru Mono. Try saying that one a few times fast. That's a fantasy adventure one. very good show, very good story, good music. Highly recommend it. Um, in 2007, she was cast as Madame Marciano, the basically the leader of a bunch of um, mercenary girls in Coyote Ragtime show. Coyote Ragtime show is kind of a combination of um, is a combination of space western, maybe maybe not as much etchy, but space. It's primarily space western, some mecha. But anyways, moving on because we've really been at this for a while. She was cast as Emily Adachi in Air Gear, um, one of the classmates of one of the characters. Air Gear, kind of a rollerblade anime. Another one I highly recommend, kind of a high energy type anime. And also in 2007, she was cast as Tad in Kira Phantom Memory, another one where she's voicing a prepubescent boy. Um, then also another one. Here are a couple of Funimation roles she had. 2007 here. She was Morika in Peach Girl, the English voice of Morika in Peach Girl, and she was also the English voice of Ayo in Mushishi, episode of Mushishi. So then, as we get to Air, again, still in 2007, she was cast in Air as the English voices of Minagi Tono and a young Yukito Kunisaki. Now, mind you, here in Air, she basically played the child version of the character of in English the main character who was voiced by Vic. She played the child version of his character. So that's another interesting little tidbit there. And then also in 2007, she was cast as the English voice of Satsuki Minato in Hell Girl, another one of her Funimation roles. Um, then she was also she did a lot of work in 2007 here. She was Lapis Roman in Xenosaga. English voice of Lapis Roman in Xenosaga the animation. She was the English voice of Kyoko in Venus versus Virus. She was the English voice of Maika Yoshikawa in Magic Kano. And that was the end of her 2007 stuff. Another cute anime that I highly recommend, especially if you're kind of drawn to the idea of trying to figure out what the whole Big Brother complex is in Japan. This is a prime example. She's the eldest sister of the main character. You will. It's an interesting one to see, to say the least. So moving ahead to 2010, some more of her Funimation roles here. In Strike Witches, she was the voice of Mio Sakamoto, one of the stars of the show. And then in 2011, she was cast as Yor in Fairy Tale. Probably most of you would know her work in Fairy Tale. Yor, who was, of course, Grateful Buster's master. So trained him in his ice magic. Also in 2011, she was cast in Rosario plus Vampire Kapu 2 as Kokoa Shuzen. Then she would reprise her role as Mio Sakamoto in Strike Witches 2 in 2012. Then in 2014, she was cast as Kanzashi Sarashiki in Infinite Stratos 2. Then in 2015, she had actually a few characters in Mug Love Alternative Total Eclipse. I just recently watched that. That was a very interesting anime. It's kind of a space mecha anime. She had like four characters that she was. She was Yafaru, Kazusa Yamashiro, Amemiya, and then Yuya Bridges, the young Yuya Bridges. So those are basically the characters she was involved in there. Then also in 2015, an Outbreak, she was cast in the ADV dub, or I think by this point it's a Sentai Filmworks dub. I'm sorry, Sentai Filmworks at this point dub of Outbreak Company as a fairy princess by the name of Petrarca and Eldant the Third. This is an interesting one about the idea of instead of using violence to try to conquer a world or a country, you use pop culture. Interesting one. I would highly recommend it. Then she was also in 2015. She was cast in the anime in the English dub of the anime Sony Ani Super Sonico the animation as Oka Satsurikuin. So Oka Satsurikuin and Sony Ani Super Sonico the animation. She was also in 2015. She was cast as the English voice of Izuma Hatatse in No Game No Life. Also in 2015, she was actually in a comic got you might got some of you might have if you remember if you watched a comic got kill on Toonami, she voiced the role of Seryu Ubiquitous. Seryu Ubiquitous in Kami Got Kill. I think she was, if I remember correctly, because I saw that too. I think she was like the spoiled brat who the main character saved in the first episode or something like that. I believe that might be it. Also in 2015, she was cast as the English voice of Sayori in Brynhilde in the Darkness. And then here's I think her third or fourth main role on here. Um, she was cast in the lead role of Chaika Trabant in Chaika the Coffin Princess. Then in 2016, she was cast in the English dub of it's pronounced regarding, but it's spelled R-E colon Hamatora as Goda and Mio. And then she, of course, is part of the Fate series, also in 2016, when Sentai decided to dub the Khalid portion of Fate. In this case, in 2016, she was cast as the English voice of Chloe von Einsburn in Fate Khalid Liner Prisma Ilia Tue. Again, try saying that. I'm hoping I pronounced that right. I think a lot of that's German. So, excuse me if I didn't pronounce it exactly right. Then, also in 2016, she was cast in the English dub of Wizard Barristers as Natsuna Hotaru and Sarah. Then, also in 2016, she reprised her role as Elulu in the Utoraru Mono OVA. Again, I haven't gotten around to watch the OVA yet, but if I would think that that's just as good as probably, so I highly recommend that series. Then in Log Horizon 2, she was cast as the English voice of Kyoko. And then also in 2016, she was cast in the English dub of Cross on Rondo of Angel and Dragon as Celia. Then she was cast in the English dub of Denno Coil as Kyoko Okonogi and Akira Hashimoto. She was also cast in 2016 in Trinity 7 as the English voice of Hijiri Katsuga. Then she reprised her role as Chaika in Chaika the Coffin Princess The Avenging Battle in 2016. And then in 2017, she reprised her role as Chloe von Einsburn in Fate, Khalid, Liner, Prisma, Ilya, Two Way, Hertz. The Fate series is good, even though it's different portions of it were dubbed by different companies. You'd have, but they were all pretty good. And again, if you've ever had a chance to hear Kira's work, her voice will sound familiar. I'm sure if you've heard enough of her work, you'll know her voice. You'll know a lot of her work if you've had a chance to. She's got a pretty distinctive voice. Also in 2016, she was cast in the English dub of Girls und Panzer. This is the real Anzio battle as Shiomi Anchovy Anzai. Shiomi Anchovy Anzai. Okay, that's an interesting name to have. Then also in 2016, she was cast as the young Edgar, as well as Yuma Mukami in Diabolic Lovers More Blood. Then she was cast as Zombina, the English voice of Zombina in Monster Musume. Um, and then you can actually, looks like you can actually hear her right now on Tsunami in Food Wars, the second plate, as Taki Shunozaki. I know this character because I've seen her. I just saw her last night. In fact, when I watched the latest episode on Toonami of Food Wars, so they're on the second season, the second plate. Um, and Kira Vincent-Davis, you can hear her voice as Taki Shunozaki. And originally that was dubbed in 2018. So that was like dubbed 2 years ago. Also in 2018, she was cast as the English voices of Iroha Dori and Weiwichia in Flip Floppers. And she was cast also as the Nako Tenjo in Devil's Line. And also she was cast as Futaba's mom in Review Starlight, as well as the toy car, Germ A, and the airplane in Hello Kitty and Friends, Let's Learn Together. I think that might be a children's show that she happened to be cast in. Then to finish it off, she was actually cast in 2019 Knights of the Zodiac Saint Seiya. This looks like more of a computer animated one as child number 2 and Kiki. That was last year, and then she was cast in Golden Time as Nana. So there you have it. There's all of Kira's credits. Wow, took me that long to do this. Well, you guys know that I'm very detail oriented, and my goal is always to give you as much information as I possibly can. So I know this is going to be one of my longer VA profiles, but it's due to the content in which I had to work with. Um, so I hope you guys will come and join me for the premiere of this. You know, I put a lot of effort into these, so you guys have the information. As I always tell you guys, there's a particular voice actor or voice actress out there that you want to meet at a con. The best way to do it is to, in a very polite and respectful manner, contact your local cons and ask them to invite them to their con so you can meet them. I hope you guys who are checking out my video here on this, hope you guys will check out some of Kira's work, and hopefully you develop into a fan of her. I think she's a very good voice actress, one who doesn't get the credit she deserves a lot of time. Um, so I hope you guys check her out, and if you check her out, you like her work, get her invited to one of your local cons. You know, um, just contact your local cons and ask them to invite her. in a very polite and respectful manner. That is. And with that being said, you can check out the links below. My you can contact me directly through my Discord. You can check out my Discord and join it if you like, and DM me there. As you guys know, I'm promoting a bunch of different dub companies as well. Check those out. I'm still promoting GoFundMe's. As you guys know, the case is still ongoing. Um, you know, as always, guys, don't feel like you have to donate. If you have the means to and it's on your heart to do so, please consider donating. If you already donated, please consider donating again. And if you can't donate, still help out the cause by sharing the link because well, sharing is caring, and you never know, maybe somebody in your circle of friends will want to help out. Um, Also, if you like this content, please consider liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. I always look forward to the conversations with you guys. I usually, as long as you keep it polite and respectful, I usually will get back to you as soon as I can. So with that, I hope I'll be seeing you guys on Friday for the premiere of this. If not, I will see you guys on Monday. Bye.